Good morning, I'm Joe Fryer.
And I'm Savannah Sellers. Right now on Morning News Now, Day 2, the trial of Derek Chauvin, the man accused of killing George Floyd, now moving forward 10 months after Floyd's death. Of course, we'll dive into opening statements from the prosecution and defense on Day 1 and what we can expect from this landmark case today as the world watches. We begin, though, with the trial of Derek Chauvin, the former Minneapolis police officer charged with the murder of George Floyd.
The prosecution and defense each made their opening remarks to the jury yesterday, laying the groundwork for what to expect in the coming weeks. We've lined up a team to walk us through that first day of opening statements and testimony, plus what to expect going forward. NBC News correspondent Shaquille Brewster is with us, as well as criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor Vinoo Varghese.
Let's now go to criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor Vinoo Varghese. Vinoo, we just heard Shaq kind of tick through a lot of things that stuck out yesterday, but you've been on both sides of the courtroom. I'm wondering what stood out to you during opening statements yesterday.
Well, obviously, the weight of the case, I mean, the drama. One of the important things about opening statements is that you're not supposed to be argumentative. You're not supposed to be arguing the way that you can in a closing statement. And these guys, both of them, were talking about dramatic things. I mean, the prosecutor was saying things such as the life was squeezed out of Derek Chauvin. I believe he actually overstepped his bounds of what he's supposed to do in opening statements, but that's to be expected here. The judge is probably not going to stop it.
In what way do you mean that? You mean that it did border on arguing?
Yes. I mean, he's saying things like that he's defenseless, that he got the life squeezed out of him. I mean, I think that goes beyond. A prosecutor in his opening statement is just supposed to say, look, on this date, in this city, in this jurisdiction, Derek Chauvin did this, and we're going to prove this, and we're going to say this is how we're going to prove it, and lay out a roadmap for the case. He went beyond that, but I don't see it with this kind of case. The judge didn't stop it. So
let's not talk about the defense. We don't know yet if Derek Chauvin will testify as part of his defense. His attorney did not mention it in his opening, which is typical. But based on what you've seen so far, do you think he should?
Absolutely. I think Chauvin, one of the things you got to remember is that as a cop, he receives training in testifying. This is different than any other witnesses. 99.9% of the people that testify at trials, unless they're an expert, has never testified before, has never had occasion to testify. Chauvin has most likely testified multiple times in court and has had to deal with defense attorneys trying to attack him. Well, he's on the defense here, so he should testify because the video, he's have to explain what he did. And if he's compelling, he may walk out of the courtroom.
Something we will certainly all be watching for. And Vinoo, you wrote an opinion piece titled, "To ensure justice for George Floyd, Derek Chauvin must get a fair trial." You also raised concerns over what you said was Minnesota Attorney General's charge stacking. Explain what that means and how you believe it complicates this case.
So when Chauvin was charged, was overcharged in this case. He initially was charged with manslaughter. Then they added the second-degree murder charge. He's been overcharged, and what the prosecution has tried to do is to add these additional charges in the hopes that he'll get convicted of at least the manslaughter. It's a problem, and his lawyers have now a harder battle to fight.
All right, Vinoo, thank you so much.